Iowa State unbeaten here in week 10. Did you know Iowa State's only played 7 football games? We're in week 10. Yeah, it's kind of strange, but that's the way the college football goes sometimes. The question is, at home in Ames, can they actually lose a football game favored by around 2 touchdowns? I don't think so, because Texas Tech is frustrating. It's frustrating for someone like me who's trying to discern every year, is this a good football team? Is this capable of a team capable of winning a conference championship? Is this just kind of a flash in the pan sort of team? And look, Texas Tech has had an offense this year that's been really good, but they are the kings in the Big 12, at least as far as I can see. Someone can tell me if it's different. They have a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Go look at the losses that they have this year. It's just not pretty. I know that Baron Morton went down last time out against TCU, but why did you allow 59 points at home to Baylor? That's all self-inflicted. I don't think Baylor even believed they could score 59 points on the road against anybody, and yet they were able to do it in Waco. Like, that's just not something, even though Baylor was at home, it's just, you shouldn't allow that to happen. And yeah, Baron Morton goes down. It's a tough break, but a 17-point lead in the second half, you got to find a way to hold those games. Like losing to Washington State earlier this year. All right, it's week 2. No one's playing their best football yet. You get caught in a tough place to play up in Pullman. That's one thing. But I struggle to believe in Texas Tech in this spot, and I just keep liking Iowa State. So I'll take the Cyclones to win. I'll take the Cyclones to not cover. Why? I don't know. Big 12. It feels like a big number there. Yeah, but I don't actually care. Changed my mind right here as I'm recording the show. Iowa State 42, Texas Tech 20. Cyclones get the win. Kansas State, you're on thin ice every week because you went to Provo that one fateful night in a crazy game when I still wasn't on the BYU hype train, and Kansas State lost football game 38-9. Well, they just keep winning. It's not always pretty, Colorado and Kansas, for instance. And here's Houston with not one, but 2 Big 12 wins. This is already a successful season for Willie Fritz and company. I thought they'd go 1-11. I did not believe. I might have predicted them 2-10 before the year. I'd have to go double check, but I didn't think they were going to have this many wins all year, let alone at this point with a handful of games to go. They're not going to make a bowl game. They're not going to beat Kansas State in this spot, but Houston's been showing some fight. I don't have confidence that Kansas State is going to win by 2 touchdowns or more. 27-17, they go into Houston and get the win. How about a battle of bottom dwellers? Arizona, tough year for Brent Brennan and company. I struggled taking the victory lap there because my preseason Big 12 championship prediction was just fell flat, complete and total whiff. But Arizona, one of those teams that I ding, 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 hit the nail right on the head. They go to UCF. Knights are favored by 6 points. I have some weird faith in Arizona to figure it out. I don't really know why. They haven't been playing very good football. But guess what? Neither is UCF. And UCF doesn't really know how to win as much as Noah Fafita and Tetairoa McMillan do. So I think those guys finally figure it out. Noah Fafita, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this year. Not a great look for the Arizona coaching staff. Not a great look, especially when you look at what Will Rogers is doing with Jed Fish up at Washington. They're not a great football team. They have a better record than Arizona, with a lot of Arizona's former players, of course, and Will Rogers is quarterback. Yeah, he's putting up pretty solid numbers for the most part. Fafita, no Jed Fish, and a major problem there right now. So I'll take Arizona to go into Orlando at FBC Mortgage Stadium, win the football game. Arizona 28-24 over UCF. TCU Baylor. Look, I've talked about Billy Napier on this show many a times. And I've done that because Billy Napier's a guy who I didn't think should have had his job after he was embarrassed twice in 3 weeks on his home field earlier this season, but he just keeps winning football games. He might hang around with Georgia this week. I don't suspect he will. I think Kirby Smart's figured out the defense, but Dave Aranda's another guy that everyone has just kind of assumed, oh, well, he's done. Oh, well, Dave Aranda's going away. Dave Aranda's not going to be the head coach of Baylor anymore. Dave Aranda can't do this, that, and the other thing. Well, do you know what Baylor's record is right now? 4-4. Do you know what their record is in the Big 12? 2-3. I'm not telling you they're good. I'm just saying they're not bad. By the way, let's put the context in here that Dave Aranda will make to his athletic director in his end of season interview whenever this year comes to a close. Do you remember how they lost to Colorado? Do you? Now, you can blame the coaching staff for a Hail Mary that was well executed, but Dave Aranda is going to say, that one player, he just didn't make. I don't know that he's going to say that. I'm saying he could. It'd be a somewhat logical thing to lay out there. So TCU, who I have described before as a waste of a great offense, I continue to believe that, by the way. Sure, they won last week. Whoop-de-doo. TCU's 5-3, 3-2 in the conference. They're not making the Big 12 championship game. And the reason is they, like Texas Tech, cannot play defense. And so Baylor is favored. How about that? Baylor favored in a football game. They're at home this week against TCU. I think this is the Horned Frog spot. I think Baylor comes back down to earth. I don't trust them entirely. They're playing a little better than I thought they would. They have won games in which I picked them to lose, but I'm picking them to lose again here. I continue to like Josh Hoover. He's cooled down a little bit from the start of the season, but still 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's over 2,600 yards passing. Protect the football here. And I think TCU goes into Waco and wins what was once upon a time a premier marquee matchup in the Big 12. And now it's just kind of a game. It's just kind of a game. But Sonny Dykes and company, it's not a bad team. It's just not a great team. They have the potential to be great because their offense is so talented and Hoover is so good at quarterback. But they are not. They're not a great team, but I do think they're a little bit better than Baylor. I don't think the Bears should be favored in this spot. I'll take TCU 31-27. And finally, the game you have all been waiting for. The game that everyone is going to have eyeballs on. Arizona State at Oklahoma State. Speaking of Big 12 teams, I was very right on, but yet not right enough. I didn't think Oklahoma State was a Big 12 title contender, but I didn't think they'd be 0-5 in the Big 12 right now. Yikes. I mean major, triple, double, quadruple, dare I say quintuple yikes for Oklahoma State. So I don't know how rocking Stillwater's going to be for a completely uninspiring and tough to watch football team. Arizona State, on the other hand, well, pretty good football team. Pretty solid. I don't know why I'm going to do it. I really don't. I picked them to win last week. Oklahoma State's not going to go winless in conference play. So what I have been for BYU, I will be the opposite for Oklahoma State, it seems. I think the Cowboys find a way to win their first Big 12 conference game here against Oklahoma State at home. I don't know how. I don't know why. They've run the ball better in the last couple of weeks. Maybe Ollie Gordon pops. Maybe. I don't know. But that's so much of this conference. I don't know. Let's just see how it plays out. Oklahoma State, low-scoring game, 2017. They beat ASU.